What's happening, guys? So today I'm making what in my opinion is a very important video, and this is actually against some of the advice I've got from other people, but I feel you deserve to hear this from me, get clarity on a lot of stuff, and also just for me to cover a few things for you. And as I was writing out my thoughts for this, I realized the best place to start is at the beginning. And when I began my business, I started scouring the internet for tutorials, for training on different things to overcome certain problems. And they were good, but they always had one problem. And that was that they would always leave out one detail, that one detail I needed, or that one nuance that I couldn't finish the process or complete what I was doing. And so then I would trial and error and figure it out myself. And it was at that point that I realized there's probably a lot of other people also having that experience. That is when I began sharing publicly my training videos, and I never expected for people to, see value in my content, and even less so that they would say they enjoyed my teaching style. I had no teaching experience, and honestly, I had a fear of, and still do, a fear of public speaking. And so I was very pleased when people actually saw value in it and liked the approach I took, that very detail-oriented. I know some people find it boring or lengthy, but that's what gets the process done properly. And so that is what I focused on. And this channel was very small. For 2 years, we had no growth. And then I made a video on setting up a Seller Central account, on the sign-up process. And it was super meticulous and detailed because I had gone through a 3-month verification where I had done things wrong. So I knew exactly what not to do, and I shared that on the channel. I think that's why I connected and started doing well, and that helped us grow a little more. In short, what I do is I teach what I learn, and thanks to many of you, I've really developed a passion for doing that. Outside of this channel though, perhaps because I had built that teaching ability a bit further, I was hired by a different company called Just One Dime, and I was hired to train sellers within their program called AFM. And many of you guys know that program well. I've shared it here frequently, especially for those of you wanting to take a step up from free to paid training. Now, that same company later developed a separate program called Done For You. I never worked on this Done For You program, and by extension, I never shared this program with you guys on the channel. But recently, I have been getting a few questions around why AFM is no longer available for sale. Toward the end of November this year, 2022, Just One Dime actually filed bankruptcy. And by extension, that affects all JOD products, including AFM. And that is why AFM is no longer available for sale. It's also why you'll see I've removed all of those AFM links. Naturally, the follow-up question is why? Why did JOD, which is Just One Dime, why did JOD file bankruptcy? At this point, the proceedings, if you will, I think it's called that, are still underway. They're not all concluded yet, but what I believe happens, and I'm a layman with this, but is that a trustee is going to take ownership of all the company's assets, etc., and sell them to pay back creditors. And that whole process is not concluded yet. However, what is known is that Just One Dime received multiple lawsuits regarding the Done For You program. And from what I've researched, the clients of this Done For You program did not receive what they paid for in a timely manner. Now, as I was not a part of this program, I will not speculate as to why these clients did not receive what they paid for in a timely manner. So once all of the proceedings and everything are concluded and we've heard, all parts of the story, that's when we're going to have the facts. But like all my other videos, in this video, I'm going to simply stick to what I do know. So in the spirit of keeping you up to date, there are a couple of things I really want to address in this video. Now, the work I did for AFM inside Just One Dime was all on camera, like this. And when you do on-camera work for a company, it makes you highly visible, obviously. But by extension, especially for someone who's not familiar with the company, it can really blur the lines of your involvement with that company. For example, I've actually had people ask me if I own Just One Dime. which I do not. So I want to give you 100% clarity on what I did, what my work involved, and exactly what I did for AFM inside Jod. So Jod ended up with 2 products. The first one, and it's a long-standing one, is AFM, which is Amazon FBA Mastery. And this was a training course which taught sellers how to build their own Amazon businesses. Much later, another program was introduced, and this one was DFY, Done For You. And this was a program that actually built the Amazon stores for sellers, so sellers wouldn't have to build it themselves. So these 2 programs had completely separate departments. I worked exclusively in the AFM department, but in the AFM department my role was very simple. I was a freelance teacher who created and taught lessons to sellers, and I really enjoyed it. I poured my heart and soul into that program, and I'm very proud of the value I added to it. And occasionally I was also tasked with creating other lessons which were made publicly available on the Just One Dime YouTube channel. But to be absolutely clear, I did not own Just One Dime, own equity or voting rights, nor control pricing or promotional strategies. I was a freelance teacher. I created and taught lessons to sellers in AFM. And that is what I know. It's what I do on this channel, and it's what I then did more professionally inside AFM. But my passion for teaching this stuff began on this channel, and this channel's ethos, I think it's still in the channel description, is you get free training, I get to build a community. And for most of you, the free training is enough, but there are some who want to step up to paid training, a proper syllabus, and sometimes a community. That is exactly what AFM offers, and I believe it was one of the best programs around. Also, I don't have my own paid course. So for those who did want paid training, to step up to paid training, I shared my AFM affiliate link below many of my videos. Now, if someone chose to use my link, it would drive directly to the AFM page. And then if they also did buy AFM and they don't cancel within a time frame, then I would earn a commission. And some of you will remember the Dan10 code. One of the things I like to try and do with services is offer viewers, that's you guys in the community, a discount. Now sometimes that means I earn less commission and I shift it as a discount to you guys. That is what I managed to organize with Just One Dime. And so the Dan10 code, if you use that, again, specific to AFM, only works for AFM. If you use that code, you would get 10% off AFM. And that might seem like super detailed and stuff like that. Why all the info about links and codes? The main reason I'm telling you that is because I've seen a couple inferences which were saying I was driving a whole lot of people to Done For You. That simply isn't the case. The link I had was for AFM because that's the product I understood and had worked on and believed in what my community wanted. That's the reason. The other reason is because I believe it demonstrates in action the relationship I've always tried to maintain with you guys in this community. And that is, if you use my affiliate link, that supports me. But if I get you a discount, that supports you. And then everyone wins. So what I just covered covers the extent of my work as a freelancer and affiliate for Just One Dime. Now you guys know just as well as I do, the videos around these big failures and bankruptcies get a lot of views. They generally do very well. It's just human nature. We're generally drawn more to the negative than the positive. And the Germans actually have an excellent word for this, which is Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Which literally means pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. But I recently saw one, and look, I give people the benefit of the doubt here because they don't know, and that's why I'm making this video. So it shares and clarifies my role and everything. So I'm going to field a couple of questions regarding this. The first one, what are your thoughts on any done-for-you service? This model is certainly not my personal preference, and I'm going to touch more on that in a moment, but it is not my personal preference for sellers in our space. But as a concept, building a business for another person is nothing new. In fact, a lot of very wealthy people hire CEOs to do just that, to build their business for them. So as a concept itself, it's entirely possible. You're simply just changing who is in the driver's seat. But as an Amazon store service specifically, I think there are two extremely important things. One, it would be very, very important that the client you're building for understands that it's going to take a lot of time and that there's probably going to be failed products along the way. And two, I think it would also be as important for the service building the stores for clients to understand how much work that's going to take and to build out that infrastructure, and importantly, limit the number of clients to a number that they can manage. The next question is, why did you never make a video promoting Jod's Done For You program? And this comes down to my personal preference regarding business. I would never want to be reliant on another business for my business. So how could I possibly recommend something I don't personally align with? And in the same way, my preference for other sellers has always been for them to build their own businesses. But there is another very important reason I did not promote Jod's Done For You program. And that is because before I recommend anything to you guys on the channel, I run a couple of checks. And unless I have personally used it, I am very familiar with it, or it has a verifiable track record, I will say no. There are some cases where I will actually run a test myself with that service. I'll actually use their services, or sometimes I'll use their services to the benefit of a member of our community. And in that way, I'm able to verify the performance. I'm able to vet what they do before recommending it. And this strategy has worked very well so far. There's actually only been 2 services which have substantially dropped their service levels after the fact, and then I've had to go and remove those videos. In short there, I stick to recommending what I know. So in terms of Done For You, I hadn't been involved in its development or running. I had not used it myself. I was not familiar with it. Because it was new, it had no verifiable track record, and I wasn't keen to use it / test it. Hence, I did not promote Jod's Done For You program. The next question, did you make money from Done For You? No, I made exactly $0 from anything related to Done For You. I actually went and double checked my records all the way back to the inception of the Done For You program to make sure, and I managed to find absolutely no transactions where I gained from this program in any way. And if I ever do, I will happily refund it. The next question, this is a very important one. Did you think Done For You was a scam? Absolutely not. Firstly, at a concept level, as above, you can build a business for someone else. I don't think this is in question. You're simply changing who is in the driver's seat. So at a concept level, this is entirely possible, even if I wouldn't do it or promote it because of my personal preference in business. And secondly, from my experience working with Seth Kniep separately in the AFM department, he is an exceptionally hardworking individual, very high work ethic, and I have only ever seen good intentions for his clients. I remember working well into the very early hours of the morning in a basement somewhere in London before presenting. He has always shown very good intentions for his clients, and I could only expect the exact same in this program. And the next one, I do like this one. I hope it's not overstepping. It's literally what I would say to a friend. And the question is, if you had a friend who invested in Done For You, what would you say to them now? I once used a symbol the size of a coin on a product. And 2 years later, that product's listing just disappeared. It was just gone. I remember contacting Amazon for weeks, back and forth, trying to work out what had happened, what had occurred, what is the outcome going to be. And I remember that time being very stressful. I was very anxious. I was speculating as to what that problem could be, what the outcome's going to be here. And then finally I was made aware that this coin-sized symbol was in fact a registered trademark. Then a situation unraveled which left me with, at retail value, stranded inventory worth over $200,000, and it ended up in a net loss of over $40,000, and I lost a listing with over 2 years of reviews and sales ranking. And at the time I remember being absolutely distraught. I had a lot of anger also towards that trademark's legal team, who could have, turned that tap off at any moment or just been a bit more reasonable, and they weren't. But looking back now, I learned a couple really important things. Number one was my mistake. I simply hadn't done my due diligence with the product and the symbols. Also, I will never make that mistake again. The hardest part emotionally was actually the waiting period. It was that waiting and speculating as to what's gone wrong, what's happened here. And what really made the difference, even with my mindset, was when I shifted from focusing on all of the bad, the horrible thing that had happened, and shifted to making a plan. I started making a plan for how I was going to return that product to its former glory. And lastly, I did share that mistake in a video, which hopefully helped many others avoid also making that mistake. So in terms of done for you, if I relate this to my story, where things feel like they are right now is in this, the listing is just gone and we don't know, and we're waiting and speculating and we don't know what's happened or what the outcome is going to be. And if it is worth anything, what I would personally do in this situation is I would move straight to planning. I would create a plan for every potential outcome of the situation and wait for proceedings to end, and then I can reassess my position and put the correct plan into action. And just the last couple words, my goal remains to share what I learn as best I can so that you can use it to your benefit. So use it, don't use it. I'm going to continue to put out my training videos here for free. I've also heard that some of the done for you investors are managing their own stores now. So if that is you and there's any content or training that would help you, please do comment that below. I also welcome you to comment your opinion on free training versus paid courses versus done for you services. The only thing I ask is to please treat everyone with respect. Lastly, I want to give a huge thank you to all of you for your support, and also to the special few of you who actually defended me in some of these situations. I did see that, and that means the world to me. But I send you all the power and positivity I can, and I wish you a fantastic Christmas.